So it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you just are doing homework, and you're like, I guess I want to do a deck profile before I sleep. Hey guys, this is David here with the deck profile for you guys. As you see on the title, it is going to be the Granblue deck from the newest expansion. Alright, as we go on, starting from the best starter for Granblues is Captain Nightmist. Better artwork, looks better, reminds me of a lot of things, so Captain Nightmist is probably the best starter for me. Going on to the grade 3 lineup, I am running 4 Cocytus. Cocytus is probably one of the better cards that I can use as a main grade 3, just because it mills 4 and gets to call up uh, 2 plus how many cards, how many grade 3s you have in the soul. So if you have 1 in the soul when you Cocytus, you can call up to 3 cards, and calling 3 cards from my perspective, not a bad idea. I am still running 2 Baskirks. I was trying 1 just to slow down the pace, but I think running 2 Baskirk was pretty fair. Because when I didn't ride into Cocytus, I had a slight issue of having the right grade 3 on the Vanguard. And I think that Baskirk is still a good grade 3 ride you can have. And I think especially towards later on in the game where you don't want to mill cards but you still want to do stuff, I think Baskirk is definitely a good target for that. And it keeps the crit if you have more than 10 cards. And by the end game where you have Baskirk, definitely a good idea to slow down the mill and pressure with Baskirk. I am running 1 Scare deck. I was running 2 on my playtesting, but I realized that Narukami is a very pretty threatening matchup if you play it wrong. So I think that running 2 of the Skull Dragon was the better choice on this case, just because Skull Dragons do go back in the drop zone. So, and I do need them pretty early in the game because of the Narukami matchup. So I increased 1 Skull Dragon and running 1 Scare deck instead. But the key factor of the deck is I have to run Flanger. Flanger is very important in the deck. It's because that you want to make sure by when your opponent hits 5 damage, you want to make sure you can swing with Flanger and they cannot guard with anything. So Flanger is very key actually. The only reason why I'm running 1 is because that I am basically hoping to mill the 1 Flanger I have in the deck. Plus I do not want to ride into Flanger if possible, because I was trying out 2 and it actually didn't work out as well as I thought. But yeah, definitely one whale and the 2 Skull Dragons is the only thing I actually changed out of my playtesting, which most likely worked out pretty well. So I would have to say the grade 2 lineup was bit of a hassle to figure out, same with the grade 3 lineup, but I eventually figured it out. But I am running 2 of the ghost ships. Ghost ship is kind of like the Skull Dragon from my perspective, except it can draw a card. But most likely I'm still running the ghost ship because 1, it's a big beater, 2, Narukami matchups is a thing, because Narukami is one of the best decks in the format currently. I guess this is still in before the newest set comes out, the Phantasmal Steed. So but Ghost Ship is definitely helpful for a lot of matchups. So 2 Ghost Ships still. I definitely hope to mill them, to be honest. I run 2 Captain Nightmist, and I know this was a discussion I had back and forth with my friend Domino. Domino was saying that the Ruin Shades and then the Ghost Ship was a better idea just because you want to mill to 30 early, but I still decided to keep Night Mist because there were some early games I can use with Night Mist. Plus, there were situations where I could have used Night Mist just to call cards instead of mill cards to call cards. So I think that running Night Mist is still a good idea, to be honest. You want to call such cards as Flanger in the late game when you don't have cards to mill, or the Skull Dragon's pretty nice in between game, or even you can call the grade 1 this one, that Soul Blast and draw 1. So running it combos with Banshee early game. So definitely Night Mist came in pretty clutch. I think running 2 Night Mist is not a bad choice, to be honest. I am running 3 Ruin Shades. Ruin Shades are very needed in the early game. I don't think it's very helpful in the late game, but definitely in the early game, Ruin Shade is very key. Just because you want to get started by milling up to 10 cards by your grade 3 ride. So running 30 Ruin Shades is what I thought was pretty good. Plus, it is a 70 column by itself against other Protect matchups or XL matchup. So Rune Shade's pretty clutch. Running 4 Greed Shades, obviously. Greed Shade is probably one of the best cards that they announced in the set after Cocytus. Greed Shade's effect is when placed, you can discard a card, mill 2 cards, and then put a card that is not Greed Shade to hand. Definitely, if you can see that Greed Shade can come in really clutch to search out your grade 3s early if you don't have it in your hand, or getting key pieces to your hand. I use Greed Shade just to like mill cards very early game, so I think Greed Shade will come in clutch for all you Granblue players that are trying to get 10 cards to their drop zone or get your 3 if you didn't get your 3 during your mulligan. The grade 1 lineup is actually pretty straightforward. You're running 4 Banshee because Banshee is really good. Soul Blast, draw a card, gets +4. Pretty simple. Honestly, I would definitely use them early game, but like towards the late game, I actually use them less. But just to net you cards early, I think running 4 Banshee is definitely key because you want to mill those Banshees early as possible. The perfect cards were probably made for Granblues, to be honest. As you know, this perfect card has been coming clutch to many other decks. Especially for Granblues, I think it's perfect because as soon as you ride it, you can draw a card and discard a card, and then you can draw a card. So definitely the perfect cards are really nice to have. And then of course the best ride target for Granblues is Romario. Romario, if you ride on top, counterblast, put a card in the soul, mill 3, and put 1 card to the hand. So definitely you want to ride Romario, but as a best second option, you still have the Ghosty perfect card. So definitely nothing to fix here. And this is probably the reason why I really like running Granblues a lot, is because I can run 12 crits without having an argument saying, draw perfect cards are better. No. For Granblues, 12 crits. You know why? Because they can run that grade 1 perfect card that lets you discard a card. And basically, you can't run draws. So you're going to run 12 crits, 4 heals. And I really think that running more crits over other triggers are definitely helpful. And this is where you see the results of the deck. But overall, this is a very, very nice deck for me, at the least. I always been a fan of the playstyle of Granblues, just because it is searching for cards, toolboxing from drop zone. So definitely a very strong deck if you can go well. I think this deck is really strong in premium, which I actually don't play premium for this, but I think for premium this is probably a very strong deck. I know that there's a lot of people arguing about the scare decks being ran as more than 2, or some people don't run any, but I think Scare Deck is still very key in the deck. And then Flanger, of course, is the MVP, so definitely run Flanger. But for any other information about the deck, I do have a match I filmed against Narukami's, which should be somewhere in the link, I think, if I do link it somewhere, but it should be somewhere down here. So make sure you guys look at the video. Definitely give me a comment if you have any comments for the deck. Oh yeah, I do shout out to my friend Domino Paris for selling me this deck for a very good price. I have been enjoying this deck for the past 2 weeks. It's a really fun deck. I know it is a little outdated just because the set was released like maybe a month ago, but I still think this is a very strong deck, and I actually won against a lot of the newer decks with this deck, just because Flanger is such a strong card. So yeah, but make sure you guys subscribe, comment, do all your goody things, make sure you let your friends know and all that good stuff. But that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.